what's happening? This is Joshua Buatsi and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Right, so article in the description box for you all to have a little read for yourself if you like. And this will be Anthony Joshua talking about Joshua Buatsi. Why is Anthony Joshua talking about him? Well, Anthony Joshua is the manager of Joshua Buatsi, along with Lawrence Coley and Joe Cordina. Unsure if there's any more. Maybe there is, don't know. But either way, Anthony Joshua is picking Joshua Buatsi to be a world champion in the future. First things first, Joshua Buatsi has to try and win the vacant British light heavyweight title this weekend at the Copper Box Arena on the Charlie Edwards vs Moreno undercard, which you can see on Sky Sports or DAZN, whichever you are. Now, Anthony Joshua has said this: I always look at people outside of the ring. Buatsi, a devoted man to his religion, well educated, so I think his star quality is his devotion to the sport and how intelligent he is. He mixes that devotion with his intelligence and he puts that into the ring. He's very smart. He graduated in university and he's a graduate in amateur boxing. He went to the Olympics, captured bronze, and he's going to become a world champion in the future. Developing fights are key, but in business, that's so big and so much pressure. Whether they give him enough time to grow, I'm not the one to answer that, but I believe he has so much unlocked potential still that they can tap into. I don't just want him to cross over to championship level too soon, because there's no coming back. Once you cross over to championship level, you have to fight that elite level. And those fights aren't about learning about anything. They're just tough. And also, you know what it's about. If they can just keep building him, progressing him, it's hard to keep him under the radar, but getting the right fights at the right time. Anthony Joshua's statement. So he's going to be a world champion in the future. And I think a lot of people would echo that sentiment. That's for sure. I think that Joshua Buatsi, he's proving exactly what a lot of people hoped. As he said there, he won the bronze at the Olympics. So he has a very good amateur pedigree. And coming into the pro game, he has been bowling over opponents in real quick time. Some opponents are meant to be like a real test for him as well. Good learning fights, but how much is it that he's learning when he's supposed to be learning in these fights, but he's just blasting through them? Why? Because quite clearly he's a level above. Now, his fight with Liam Conroy this weekend, again, is supposed to be another test for him. And of course, it does have the British light heavyweight title on the line. And it's one that you would fully expect Joshua Buatsi to get through. Listen, banana skins happen, you know, but you never know. But you would fully expect him to get through Liam Conroy. But we'll have to wait and see. Buatsi is one of these kind of guys that would fight anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. He's quite actually said, if you want to put Anthony Yard up next, I'm quite willing to take it. I'll fight any of them. It's not a problem for me. And about 3 fights ago, he was supposed to take on a pretty stiff test in Ricky Summers. Ricky Summers had to pull out of the fight. So already we could see Buatsi was already believing in himself, his team, like Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Freddie Cunningham, etc., believe in Buatsi so much that they were going to put him in there with Ricky Summers. But of course that fight never came off. But now he's got a good opportunity to win the British title. Going forward, I would fully expect, because based on what Eddie Hearn likes to do, he does like to, once his fighters get a British title, he does like to move them on to European. Sometimes it's too soon, sometimes it just is what it is. But I think Buatsi is one of these kind of guys where I think a lot of people would agree he's looking like the real deal and could well be a future star in the future. Time will tell, of course, we don't know. But as of right now, he's doing all the right things. He does dedicate himself to the sport. We've seen him speaking on plenty of occasions when I spoke with him as well. Everything is about timing. If he's meant to be training at a certain time, he makes sure that he's there. He does everything that he possibly can. He's dedicated fully to developing as a pro fighter. Long term, of course, he wants to be world champion. Right now, I don't think he rates himself that high, in the sense of he doesn't consider himself any kind of brand or any kind of name. He's a very, very humble guy. He really is. Very, very nice guy. But you put gloves on him and stepping foot through those rings, he's going through his opponents like nothing else on earth. He just goes to animal. He really does, and just starts mauling his opponent and hits them with thunderous shots. So in my opinion, yeah, I believe he's going to be a world champion. But the light heavyweight division in Britain, not a great division historically for us, but nowadays we're getting more and more and more, and Buatsi is part of that. Of course, you've got the likes of Dan Aziz in there. Yeah, you've got Anthony Yard, of course. You've got Callum Johnson, Hosea Burton, and you know what, the list just goes on and on and on. So it's a very, very exciting time in the light heavyweight division for British fighters, all of them moving up and up and up all the time. Obviously, at the head of the line at the minute, in my opinion, is Callum Johnson. He's on that crisp of a world-level title shot now, and maybe we're going to see him against Dimitri Bivol coming up next. I know that's being talked about, but we'll have to wait and see. But Buatsi right now, listen, you put him in there with Anthony Yard, who would you pick? You know, that's a real tough one to pick. You put him in there with Jose Burton. You put him in there with Craig Spider Richards. You put him in there with whoever. Would you ever write off Joshua Buatsi, even at this stage when he hasn't even had a dozen fights yet? But anyway, so that is the article. I'll put it in the description box for you all. Go have a read of it for yourself. Come to your own thoughts. Drop your own thoughts below in the comment section below. Click the thumbs up to this video and, of course, subscribe. Catch you all on the next one.